This is the best pressing formation in FC25, lads. We loved it last year. It's just as good this year. It's the 4-2-4. Let's get into it. So diving in with the tactics, lads, and it sets out as you can see it on your screen. Build-up style on balance. I don't really like counter or short passing. Balanced is perfect. If you are finding you're rushing the play though, and you lose the ball a lot, going on to short passing for a little while just to focus more on your build-up might be suitable for you, lads. And as you get more comfortable, then moving into balanced. Our defensive approach is on highest on 70 depth, lads. If you don't like this high of a depth, I recommend going to 61. It's a really good starting point if you're not used to pressing. But when you're losing, lads, and you want to go into a formation that is going to put tons of pressure on your opposition, 70 is nice. And lads, even as high as 95 when you're losing, like late on, is really acceptable in this, but 70 as a base starting point for me. If you're looking to improve your team in FC25, lads, you need to head over to U7Buy. They have the cheapest coins around and a super reliable service. You can also save yourself a cheeky 6% off at checkout when you use my code AYYLP. In with the roles, lads, and we'll start the goalkeeper as always. Ter Stegen, sweeper keeper plus. I prefer sweeper keeper out of all the defensive, out of all the goalkeeper roles, just because they command the box a bit better than if you were to leave them on goalkeeper. They're a bit more scared to come out. So sweeper keeper is the best, lads. Both my fullbacks are on fullback defend. Now we've not really used this much in the past, but as you can see, when we flip it over into the other view with the ball, they kind of scrunch in and like bunch up more in the middle. So you've got a good defensive line. But the real reason that we do this is because the difference between defend and switch balanced is that they will push slightly higher on balance, which for the most part is what we want. But we've got so many players going forward in this formation, lads. We don't want to overcommit and leave ourselves super exposed. So having it on balance, they're just there to defend, lads. So you want out and out defenders. Someone like Kunde, like I'm using, is insane. This Capdevia is him. But they're kind of on this, they look compact. But if you click on the player, you can see the green heat map is more in that far left area and slightly inside. So you don't have to worry about it all being scrunched in the middle. You do get a nice defensive width, lads. It's nothing to worry about. I know this graphic makes it look like they're all kind of scrunched in the middle, but it's not the case. The two centre backs are on defender, lads. And with the centre backs, you can use whatever role best suits you. If you like a stopper and you want to be more aggressive, then use it. However, if you've got one defender on stopper, then you need to have the other one, because what happens is if you've got these two guys on different settings, they'll create a bit of a dog leg within your back line. Whereas if I put stopper on Campbell, he'll step up and then he'll essentially just leave a gap for 1-2 chip through balls. Whereas when they're both on the same role, they kind of work together. They push or stay as a unit, and you're a lot harder to break down, lads. The two centre mids, this is where it starts getting a bit more aggressive, lads. We're on box to box. We are using Matt Tweedy and Marquisio. They're very meta options, lads. I recommend you having left footer on the left hand side and a right footer on the right hand side if you can help it, because you are going to have the opportunity to fire those Travellas, which is nice. And as you can see by the heat map, they're going to get up and almost support the attacking play. But when we don't have the ball, they're going to be dropping in and helping out defensively as well. So having players that have relentless, if you're running box to box, lads, you need to either have subs to replace these guys, or they've got to have some form of relentless so they don't get absolutely annihilated. I still have subs on for my midfield on the bench because they do still feel that kind of up and down. But if they don't have relentless, lads, check your players. You will need some subs on your bench to bring in and just help you out later on in games. Otherwise, they're just not going to get back as good as they would normally. The two wide players, lads, we're using Nico Williams and Yamal. And for me, this is not fully optimized. I am working on getting better players in these positions. But in an ideal world, I'd have a left footer on the left-hand side and a right footer on the right-hand side just for the Travellas. Yamal was fine, though. I enjoyed using him. He's a pretty fun card to use. We've been using this in Elite Rivals, so it's working with him. But optimal would be on the right foot on the right hand side, left on the left, so you can go across goal. Nico Williams is fine because he's 5-star weak foot. It's just Yamal for this. I'd rather be able to shoot across goal. But essentially you want guys that can score, lads, because they are going to pop up, as you can see on this. They are going to pop up with the chances to score goals as well as just support the play. But the reason why we have them on winger and balanced is because if you read the blurb at the bottom, it says they will offer defensive support as well, which is nice, because if you have it on attack, they don't really come back, which so then you're defending with a two-man midfield and you're very easy to overload. Whereas if you've got balance, they'll kind of drop in, help you out. It is really important, lads. And if you are losing and you're going into this formation, I recommend you going on like inside forward or something like that, really pushing those wingers up. But as a base starting point, if you want to use this formation for the entire game, winger is the most balanced way of approaching this. Now, my two strikers, I've got one that is on false 9, so he's going to kind of drop back. And this is more specific to me and Griezmann. You can put this into like advanced forward and that will work just as fine. But I've set this up so like a lot of people think Griezmann is kind of behind the curve. But if you put him on false 9 and have him drop deep, he gets a lot more opportunity to fire those finesse shots. And so I've accommodated for his lack of pace by having him drop in and get a bit more space to fire the finesse shots, which works perfectly for him, especially with the false 9++. But if you've got two regular forwards, lads, that have got poacher or advanced forward, change this to advanced forward, which if I do sub Griezmann off, I do change this to advanced forward and then have the other one on poacher, because he'll kind of just sit and look to score those simple goals, whereas Griezmann for me is more getting the wingers involved, linking the midfield to the attack, that sort of play. But if you don't have someone like a Griezmann that is better in the build-up or lacks a bit of pace, then using advanced forward is amazing in this position, because he'll just kind of sit next to Traore. He will still, with advanced forward, drop a touch deeper now and again, as you can see from the heat map. Poacher, they kind of just sit up there, whereas advanced forward, they come back a touch, which is still very good for Griezmann. And to be honest, if you're not a fan of false 9, just lob it into advanced forward, lads, but you will have a lot of success with it. But that's the 4-2-4, lads. This is the one I go into when I'm losing and I really want to just pile it on. Don't be afraid to go 90 depth, 95 depth if you're really chasing a game, because the way the attack lines up on this, when you're pressing, your 4 forwards will marry up against their, for the most part, people are using 4 backs, so it'll marry up against their back line. But even if they're using a 5 back, lads, they're having those bodies at the pitch, you do get, with the press, you do get a lot of those bounce backs, and they make a lot of mistakes, and sometimes they're just forced to clear it, and then you can build your attacks out again. But it's an amazing formation, lads. I definitely recommend you get it in your rotation. If you need the code, it will be in the description down below, as well as at the end of the video, so stay tuned for that, and I will catch you in another one. Cheers.